the Republican Party has a future, it'll be organized around the ideas you just laid out, maybe led by you or someone who thinks like you. I'm serious. That's what it needs, I think. JD Vance, thank you.
JD Vance is one of the most interesting people we know, soft-spoken, but really intense and smart, and funny as hell.
If I'm being honest, I just don't care.
Good. Good for you. JD Vance became famous several years ago. He's a lawyer and a businessman, but he wrote one of the best-selling books in the country. It was a kind of memoir. He spent a lot of time on this show, and as you just saw, he announced hours ago that he is running for a U.S. Senate seat from the state of Ohio. He's entering the Republican primary along with several other candidates to replace the retiring Senator Rob Portman. JD Vance joins us for his first interview since that announcement. Congratulations, JD. Well, I probably shouldn't say this. I'm really glad you're doing it. JD Vance, I admire you, and I wish you luck very much. Thank you for doing this.
It's time to do whatever is necessary so that we can continue to have a good life in this country that all of us love.
Yeah, to save our democracy from oligarchs who are taking it away. Amen. Imagine having a voice like that in the United States Senate. That might make a difference to the rest of us. I'm just going to say it. We're rooting for you, JD Vance.
If we don't fight back against them, they're going to make this country not a good place to live.
Amen. God, thank you. JD Vance, I appreciate that. Then there's a small category of people who run for office because they really believe something and they've got something to say. They really mean it. You almost never see these people. One of them is JD Vance. He didn't need to run for office, but he is. He's running for Senate in Ohio. And since the second he announced, places like the Daily Beast and the Washington Post and the Atlantic, the axis or protectors of the ruling class, have gone crazy. They hate him. They really hate him. And that's how you know he means it. The Club for Growth is one of the groups that raises the most money and has a major effect on elections. They're involved in a ton of Senate races. Right now, they're also involved in Ohio, and they're running ads against the candidate JD Vance, and they're attacking him because 5 years ago, JD Vance criticized President Trump. He no longer does. His politics have changed. What's interesting, though, is at the same time the Club for Growth is going after JD Vance for criticizing Trump, they were criticizing Trump, in fact, much more aggressively than JD Vance ever did.
And you have to ask yourself who's benefiting from this and who's getting rich from it. And there's two big answers. First of all, Chamber of Commerce style Republicans and Democrats who love the cheap labor, who love the fact that these immigrants are displacing America's workers, but also Democrat politicians who have decided that they can't win re-election in 2022 unless they bring in a large number of new voters to replace the voters that are already here. The criticism that I get, again, from the garbage Republicans as much as the Democrats is, well, America can walk and chew gum at the same time. Think about 4 years ago, them attacking Donald Trump for the fake Russia collusion hoax. We have to remind ourselves, Tucker, this is not just harmless disinformation, right? Well, the standard is clearly whatever's in the best interest of Democrat values, whether those are your values or not. This is ultimately about destroying the Second Amendment, just as the Democrats' alliance with big tech is about destroying the First Amendment.
JD Vance is putting a finer point on that. He's running for Senate from Ohio. He joins us tonight to respond. JD Vance is one of the only people in Republican politics who is pushing against this. He's running for Senate in the state of Ohio. Donald Trump has just endorsed him in the primary, which I think is next week. Occasionally someone runs who nobody in Washington wants to get the job and gets it anyway. And that happened last night in the state of Ohio. JD Vance came from behind to win the Republican Senate primary. We can't overstate how alone he was. Democrats, of course, were against him. But all the money people in Washington in the Republican Party were against him too, and he won anyway.
Tim Ryan, who I'm running against, is a total fraud, but we also have to fight against the corruption in our own party.
Yeah, honesty is the essence, I think, of what people want. And I really am grateful that you won and glad that you came on tonight. JD Vance, congratulations. JD Vance, leading the way on this attitude, which really is a huge change for a politician, joins us tonight. JD Vance is running against Tim Ryan for a U.S. Senate seat this November. He joins us tonight. JD Vance, thanks so much for coming on.
Because the will of the people is democracy, and that's a great thing.
Amen. Really, best of luck. JD Vance is now a senator from Ohio, hasn't been on TV since his election, and we're happy to have him join us right now.
And you'll I'm sure, keep me honest if I ever fall short.
Well, we sure appreciate it. JD Vance, one of the few politicians I know personally who's not a BS artist. So thank you and good luck. JD Vance, a senator from Ohio who took the time to visit one of his own communities. We appreciate it. JD Vance has served in the United States Marine Corps. Now he serves in the United States Senate, representing the state of Ohio. He joins us tonight.
JD Vance is the pick for vice president.
Yes.
Did Trump make the right choice?
Oh, he absolutely made the right choice. He's really smart, but he puts his intelligence to good use, which is to say the pursuit of wisdom. I mean, JD Vance is one of the only politicians I've ever met who thinks about, like, what's the right choice? You know, what's the moral choice? What's the best choice for the country? So, yeah, I'm thrilled. JD Vance is the VP pick, and I think every person who pays close attention has got to be thrilled by that. And if you don't know much about JD Vance, I'm not even going to make a case for JD Vance. I'm going to tell you what I just saw, which is that every bad person I've ever met in a lifetime in Washington was aligned against JD Vance. So it's not like I think that, I'm always, God's always on my side. Sometimes I'm not on God's side. But I definitely know who's representing the other side. It's a lot easier to tell who the people who are only in it because they like, killing other people in pointless wars. Like, I know who those people are. And their odor is so powerful that I can smell one when he walks in the room. And every single one of those people in a line that would extend from Milwaukee to Chicago was lined up over the last week to knife JD Vance.
But one thing I think we both know you were right about, and the world is starting to see it, is JD Vance as Trump's running mate. You saw it, you advocated for it, it was the right call, and it was obvious to anybody who knew JD Vance why it was the right call. And boy, has he proven himself on the campaign trail. I mean, have you been so impressed with him? I've been so, whatever the highest expectations we had were, he's exceeded them.
Well, it's been a thrill because I'm not friends with many politicians, basically zero. But JD Vance I am friends with. What they care about is war. And it's not just the Democrats, it's Republicans in Washington. And they hate JD Vance, and they really do. And they have for a long time because he's questioned whether or not these foreign entanglements are good for the United States. He's very smart. He's a friend of mine. I know he's very smart, legitimately high IQ character. So just to put it in one sentence, you got Bobby Kennedy, and they got Dick Cheney and his horrible daughter.
A hell of a trade, by the way.
Right.
I'll take that trade every day and twice on Sunday.
And I didn't mean to, I can't remember her name, so I'm going to go with horrible daughter. I think it's fair. How would you describe that realignment? Like, what is that? If the Republican Party still has standing in the eyes of voters, and I think it will, a couple of years from now, JD is the obvious. I mean, he's the most articulate explainer, I think, of Donald Trump's ideas. He's the most powerful and effective vice president in my lifetime, for sure. Mm-hmm. And he has managed to do that while remaining completely loyal on the same page as Donald Trump. The only person in the entire Republican Party, from my position, who's capable of carrying on the Trump legacy and expanding it, making it what it should fully be, is JD Vance. JD Vance is the future, period. You'll never hear me say nice things about politicians. I know them all. There are very few I like. But JD Vance is the best I've ever met. He's the combination of intelligence, decency, wisdom, emotional self-control. Like, I don't have that. It's incredible. He's incredible.